Comptroller and Auditor General, as Dr. Manoj Joshi himself points out, they've brought out this information several times, and the Chief of the Army Staff, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, is simply telling the Prime Minister, please do something. National security is at stake here. It's the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister who need to arm the army instead of this effort now perhaps to corner him and victimize the Chief of the Army Staff. Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Look, Gaurav, I certainly don't like this, screeching voices and large, loud noises. I think this is something which can be discussed in a very calm atmosphere. I am going to use the language of studied moderation. You have seen the sentiments expressed by the earlier speakers, much of which is valid. I can only say 2 or 3 things. I only hope and trust and wish that the Army Chief had shown the exemplary restraint and the language of studied moderation which the Defence Minister has shown, including today, including yesterday. I only wish that we hadn't had a scene as we had yesterday and day before in Parliament, where the only thing parties cutting across the political spectrum seem to be agreeing on is A, the kind of conduct of the Team Anna and their language, and largely also agreement on the not so seeming conduct of the Army Chief. These are things that never happen in India. The Army Chief, like a cloistered virtue, should be less seen and even lesser heard, except as a bedrock of support in the backdrop.
But what do you expect him to fight with?
Highly regrettable.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi, what will the Army Chief fight with? He's just pointing out ground realities to you. You're shooting the messenger. Are you reading the message?
If you are, I fully agree that you have the task of a devil's advocate, but don't carry it too far. Don't make it an artificial art. First of all, see the pattern. Nobody for a minute is disputing that whatever he has raised in the letter, if true, will be firstly looked into fully, secondly acted upon, and I don't think any quarter of India will give in on compromises on national security on those particular aspects. There is not a question about that. But the pattern to it is that first 6 months of his career he spends in the age issue. Ultimately you are forgetting that the Supreme Court tells him thus far and no further, General, don't go further. And it is only then that he backs off. That itself is humiliating. The bribery allegation was absolutely weird, to put it mildly. The points have been made earlier. I don't want to repeat them, but it's just riddled with loopholes and shows a lack of courage and commitment. As far as March 12 letter is concerned, I repeat, and I said so yesterday and day before, not a single one of those issues is to be ignored or not looked into. But are we not sad that it comes on 12th of March? Are we not sad that it doesn't come in the first week of assumption of power? Are we not sad that it doesn't tell you what he did on these very issues in the 2 years of his tenure? Are we not sad that he instead of speaking in generalities in the letter, he should have dealt with specifics more than a year and a half ago? So this country understands, you understand, your panelists understand.